What screams I want attention? You can tell by how much someone vents on social media. Does that include people who post on Twitter almost all day? Sorry, just trying to see if my ex falls into this category. I personally feel Twitter is just so cringy. Absolutely no interest in that platform whatsoever. I don't like Twitter either, but it is kinda handy for some things. Some companies do CS on Twitter. It can be a mixed bag, but some are great. The Netflix and Box support accounts are awesome. Sony Otto is awful. Can also be handy for current events. Like the other day when Netflix broke, I wasn't sure if it was my internet or computer. So I just loaded up Twitter and did a search for Netflix and found my answer quickly. Totally agree with that. Twitter is pretty awesome for getting in touch with big companies. Had an issue with an Airbnb recently, and instead of the hour-plus queue I had to wait on the phone, a 15-minute Twitter exchange had my issue sorted. Constantly finding excuses to be victimized when your life is more privileged than anyone else around you. I know a girl in my class who does this. Says her life is so hard when her mom and dad are rich and spend time with her, has lots of friends, and has about 10 dudes who openly have crushes on her. Doesn't do any sports or after school clubs. She has been spoiled her entire life, and when anything is her fault she is the victim no matter what. Maybe she has things going on in her life that you don't know about. Maybe I stopped hanging out with her after she and this girl Cease got in a fight and said some not nice things about me. It was a big group, and she didn't like me too much anyway, so when I left she didn't care too much. But she blamed everything on somebody else no matter what. That's what started the fight. It was clear she was in the wrong, but I guess she didn't want to get in trouble at home, so made herself the victim of the rumor she started about someone else. Those posts about how going to an impoverished area country and volunteering, followed by the I thought I was teaching them, but they ended up teaching me. I hate this. A bunch of girls from my school went to Guatemala for a school trip to volunteer and help out. The amount they posted on social media was insane. They all acted like they were heroes, posting Instagram pictures with the children and stuff like that. Literally the second they got back they all talked about how hot, boring, and gross it was. The arrogance of people who have no skills but go abroad to volunteer and help out. Do you really think people in Guatemala don't know which end of a shovel goes in the ground? Caitlin, what added value are you providing here exactly? You think Guatemala has a shortage of people who are able to put a sapling in the ground and pull out weeds? Caitlin really solidified this comment. There is girl in my mom group that's thinking about having a fourth baby. She regularly tells me that her and her husband can barely afford the 3 they have. Constant borrowing money from family, massive CR card debt. She says she misses having a baby. Her youngest is 2. She misses being pregnant and having everyone fawn over her and her newborn. She should look into surrogacy then. Gets paid to be pregnant and doesn't keep the baby. It's a win-win. If she's broke and getting pregnant for retention, it's unlikely she takes great care herself or is very responsible. Probably not the type of person most people would choose to be a surrogate. I'm currently pregnant and baffled by this mentality. Nothing about this is fun. Who would want to do this just for attention? I'm already dreading the unwanted attention every time I go out in public. Lying about yourself to make you look more impressive. That's mostly insecurity. I think source I used to do this a lot back when I was cripplingly insecure. Been there, sadly. I regret it now, and I realize that it was really pathetic, but I learned from that mistake and I'm not doing it anymore. I'm really happy you grew out of it. Kinda gives hope to someone I know. This person I refer to is avoided by everyone I know because he's just a bull listening to, and we all know what he says are lies, and although he seems to impress himself, no one else cares. It's even more pathetic because he's in his late 20s, approaching 30. Can I ask you, when you stop doing this? I have the opposite problem. I keep lying down, denying myself any CR because severe imposter syndrome. People posting online about how good they are to others. Actually, generous people will draw as little attention to what they do as possible. If they give money to a homeless person, they tell everyone about it. When my class was in DC, there were these two people that told the entire class when they gave money to one homeless person each. When this other kid in my class gave money to almost every homeless person he saw and even gave his food to one of them, he didn't tell anyone about it. I only knew because I saw him do this, and I don't think many other people did. That's because they don't want to look like the other people. Actually, generous people are aware of how people try to fake being generous and want to avoid being associated with those people. I routinely give money to homeless people, but you don't see me posting online about it. Neon colored hair. You can't really disappear into a crowd if your hair looks like cotton candy. But how do I know if you're the main character or not? Or you think it's a neat color and actually hate how people make a big deal of it? I'd like to have a vibrant hair color, but people giving me looks is making me double think this. Well, yeah. Bright colors attract attention. Like how red cars get pulled over the most. Or peacock feathers are used to attract mates. Don't want attention? Be a brunette or something. Yes, it attracts attention. But it doesn't mean people do it for attention like the thread title implies. I'd rather think most people with eccentric taste do it despite the attention. Is it hard to imagine that someone enjoys having a weird hair color for themselves? Wearing a political shirt in public? I just find it corny. I was at a car show, and some guy was selling shirts with a red, white, and blue Punisher skull that had Trump's hair swoop on top. Seemed a little over the top. I saw one of Trump sitting on the Game of Thrones chair that said the wall is coming, which is ironic considering the wall on goatee didn't work. Worked for 8,000 years. Except for those wildlings, we ice people, or others as you call us, have been safe from humans and dragons for a long time. Well, so far, neither does Trump's. Any printed shirt. Blessed girl. Airborne ranger. Death from above. Rodeo mom. Marathon finisher. We don't care. I'm quitting Facebook, Instagram, Twitter messages or cryptic status messages on either of these platforms announcing they are frustrated with something. See also grrrr. I hate people. Also their enablers are just as bad. The people who respond with what's wrong? And I'm always here for you. A small child usually. I haven't seen too many adults scream, but I guess it's not impossible. I haven't seen too many adults scream found the person who never worked in retail. Karen is demanding to speak to the manager. I kinda feel for the people called Karen reading their name daily in these memes, unless they're living up to their names, that's it. It's my mother's name and I feel so bad, because she's super non-confrontational. To like, dormant level. Don't get me wrong, she has that entitlement. She just never acts on it. My GF is named Karen and she's the most wonderful, amazing person I've ever known. This meme makes me so sad. Pretending to be depressed or have anxiety. As an actual suicide victim, I can confirm that even the legitimate cases can get very attention seeking. Can confirm. I've been heavily depressed for about a month now. Cutting myself every day, and I have posted twice a picture of my wounds on Snapchat. Maybe it is just attention seeking, or maybe, as I was told, it was a call for help. IDK, but the line between these two is thin. It's common if you didn't learn appropriate ways to seek sympathy and support growing up. How are you sharing this if you're a victim of suicide? I have insert mental illness here. I haven't been diagnosed, but I know I have it because I experienced one symptom that one time. I'm going to the bathroom. Don't follow me. My insert family member here did insert something that never really happened here to me. Even though I have no proof it happened, you need to believe me because I'm crying. Yeah, I feel like I just developed multiple personality disorder in the last year. All these I have heard from one person, although I dramatize the first and third. Also, this person has had a crush on literally everyone who's ever shown her attention. I could go on. Always diverting the conversation upon yourself. Once the topic is something unrelated to you, you change the subject to something that's about you. My mom does this all the time, gets turned around in her story, and will literally end asking, how did we get started talking about this? You started talking about this. I've noticed that those people have the lamest stories. They say things that they only think are interesting because it involves them. I'm not your mom and I'm not required to pretend to care that you had a peanut butter sandwich. Playing music in public without using headphones. Driving slowly through a parking lot, windows down, blaring music. If I'm driving a normal speed blaring music, am I still good? Potentially. It's all about your proximity to other people. If you're driving down the highway you're okay in my book, but if you're driving through a neighborhood or parking lot, then you should turn it down in my opinion. What if you're rolling in a 6'4" listening to Dre? Posting everything they do in a day every single day on Insta or Facebook. Unless it's orange juice. Orange juice is great. 2 thanks for 1k upvotes. My karma is now at 3000. Thanks. Imagine actually thinking that anyone cares that you just bought orange juice. Unless you traveled to Ecuador, stole oranges while dogs chased you, came back, then used wizardry to turn it into orange juice. I don't care. Posting selfies in the hospital. It's never selfies. Always just a picture of their husband with their name on it and nothing else. Or when they just check into the hospital on Facebook without comment. That is major attention seeking behavior lol. My friend's dad is an anesthesiologist. He said that a lot of doctors who wear scrubs in public are just trying to flex that they're doctors. Kind of the same things just on the doctor's end lol. Owning wearing goods that have very little do with quality, but have a lot more to do with brand recognition. Guxy, for example. It isn't just attention, though. It screams insecurity as well. And since the only real reason for wanting these products is to show off them off, for many it has the opposite effect. Sort of like trying to be cool isn't cool, to me. Luxury brands makes me think less of a person, not more.